Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, 320 Sim Pilot. This is a very quick video to help you out. I know a lot of people are struggling with one thing in the PMDG 777 and that's the parking brake. I struggled with it too. If you watch my initial videos, I had a bit of difficulty getting my head around it, but I'm going to give you some tips now on how the braking system works on the Boeing 777 and how you can make that work for you in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I am a real-world pilot on the Boeing 787. I'm type-rated on the 777, so hopefully this will give you a bit of that extra context on your simulations. Let's jump into the flight deck and take a look. So let's talk about the parking brake system. First of all, I'm going to show you what I have assigned. I have currently assigned on my controller the toggle parking brake and the normal brakes. If you're using your rudder pedals, you'll have that assigned as an axis, so the toe brakes individually on the left and right pedals. But we'll talk all about how that should work today. But yeah, this is typical where you'll have a toggle parking brake option and then the brakes option. So if you're just using a joystick without rudder pedals, maybe a twist joystick, this is probably what you've got with a button for the braking system. Anyway, that shouldn't matter because we're going to talk about how the system is designed to work. By default, my 777 loads up without any brakes set at all. You'll see here that even though I've loaded up on the runway with the engines running, there's no brakes set. And if I just spool up the engines a little bit, the airplane actually immediately starts to roll. So just bring this back to idle. There we go. And we'll put those speed brakes down. And you can see it's moving. So if I press the normal brakes button, everything's fine. It deflects the toe brakes and the airplane comes to a stop. Perfect. But how do we set the parking brake? When in the real airplane, to set the parking brake, you would deflect the toe brakes, so like that, by pressing my brakes button, and only then could you then click on this button here, or this lever. You pull this lever up, and then once you're holding it up, you then release the toe brakes, and then you let go of this lever, and it locks into position, just like on the 737. So I'm going to do it now, click on that, and it stays up, and then I let go of my brakes. Now one difference you'll notice is that in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the toe brakes seem to stay deflected, but there we go. So what you need to do is have it assigned so that you can use the toe brakes and then set the parking brake like that. Now the difficult part is, and a lot of people seem to be having the same issue, I'm getting asked this question a lot on the channel, is how do I release the brake? People just can't get the brakes to release, and this is the trouble I had. Because if I now use my toggle parking brake button, it doesn't release. It should do, but what's happening is this lever's releasing, but the toe brakes are remaining engaged, so now it won't move. So if I spool up the engines, you can see it even says parking brakes set, so it hasn't actually done anything. It hasn't released it properly because we can actually tell on the memo over here, parking brakes set. Remember, in the 777, to know you have the parking brake set, you check three things. You check you've got brake accumulator pressure, you check that the parking brake lever is up, and then you check that you have parking brakes set written over here. So clearly this hasn't worked. The brake has not released despite setting. And if I click on this app, it comes up again and it just stays at parking brake set. Makes no difference. So the airplane will not move like that. So again, my toggle parking brake button is not working for releasing it. It's not releasing it at all, and it's leaving parking brake set up here and it's leaving the pedals down. All that's happening is this lever's going down. So how do we set the parking brake and release it? Well, you can actually release it by, don't do anything, leave the parking brake on as normal, so have it completely on. You've got parking brake set up there. Oh no, we haven't, that's gone away now. Let's just set it again. There we go, parking brake set. So what I'm doing is I'm actually holding the toggle button until it comes, or pressing it again to make sure I get parking brake set. It's a bit fiddly, but there we go. So once you've got the parking brake set, to release it, all you need to do is hold that brake button. So if you've got toe brakes, I believe you should be able to just push your toe brakes all the way down, push them both all the way down, and that should release. If you're using a button like me, so I'm on an Xbox controller, but if you're using a joystick and you're not using toe brakes and you want to do that, simply hold down your brake, your normal brakes button. So I'm going to hold that now, and you'll see that the parking brake has actually disengaged, the message has now gone, and the toe brakes are deflected down. Now I released it and they are off. It took me a while to figure this one out, and now the airplane is free to taxi as we want. Now if I want to bring it to a stop, I can press the same button that deflects the toe brakes and it comes to a stop, and then I press my toggle parking brake once. Hasn't worked. Press it again. Take that up. a few things, but eventually I get the parking brake set memo. You need to see that message and this lever up. Once you've got both of those, it's set. So a quick refresh. To disengage it, all I need to do is hold down my brakes button. I'm holding it down, everything releases. Now I let go of the brake button and the airplane is free to move and taxi. Brilliant stuff. Then to set it, I'm going to bring the airplane to a stop, and then you can either use your toggle button, but you may need to press it a couple of times until you get the message. There we go. Or, let me just release it once more. So we're now taxiing along, bringing the airplane to a stop. You can just click on this little lever, and there you go, parking brake set. So I think that's probably the easiest one, is to just click on the lever to set the brake. But yeah, it's a little bit confusing and fiddly at first, but if you're having trouble releasing it, which seems to be the main problem, hold down your brake key, which is what I'm doing there, and that is the most reliable way I found of releasing the brake. And if you want to set it, bring the airplane to a stop and just pull that lever, and there it is, parking brake set. That seems to work. So hopefully this can help you out in getting the airplane moving, because I know it's been a difficult thing for some people, and it took me a little while to figure it out. Thank you so much for watching. Plenty more guides and tutorials on the channel, so do please watch those if you'd like full tutorials on how to fly this aircraft in the simulator.